Welcome to Every Mom is an Athlete, the podcast where we believe motherhood is inherently athletic. From lifting car seats to chasing toddlers, your daily life is a workout. I'm Dr. Karlie, pregnancy and postpartum expert, sports chiropractor, strength coach, and mom of three. This is your space for strength, recovery, and real talk in pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood. Welcome, Strong Moms. You're in the right place. Welcome back, Strong Moms, to Every Mom is an Athlete. We are on the second episode of our postpartum pain series, where we're talking about common aches and pains that moms experience after having a baby and what's actually going on and how we can fix them. For today's topic, we are going to talk about one of the most common. I think I hear this, I don't want to say every single mom, but I would almost wager to say like 99% of new moms that come into my office after having their baby have upper back and neck pain of some kind. And it's sometimes surprising to them. I think that new moms are really like expecting their low back to hurt, their pelvis, so much has just happened in their abdomen, right? But then the neck pain and the upper back pain sort of takes them by surprise. But it's one of my favorite things to help women with because it really is so fixable and manageable. And there's so many things that you can do at home. It's one of my favorite things to help people with. So let's get right into it. So what does this normally look like for moms? Well, you're probably a mom and you probably know. It's like tightness between the shoulder blades, super stiff neck, headaches, pain, especially when you're holding or feeding your baby. And so many women just assume that this is part of motherhood, that they just have to deal with it. I remember after I had my first son, I seriously remember sitting there and like having this self-talk of like, Karlie, you are a chiropractor. You know that your neck is not broken. Like nothing is broken. You didn't do anything that could physically harm you long-term. But my neck hurt so bad that I was in shock, honestly. And it happens for so many reasons. One of the reasons it's so common, right, is breastfeeding. And even if you're not breastfeeding, if you're bottle feeding, you're still so many women looking down at that baby. It's hardwired into our bodies to like look down at them and gaze at them and just like, take in all of their sweet little chubby goodness. They're just so amazing. But we really have to pay attention to our posture, especially when it's just so many hours, especially with a brand new baby. So looking down at the baby, rocking them, holding them, breastfeeding, pumping, all of that is going to lead to your shoulders rounded forward, your head's looking down, your neck is kind of pushed forward. And so your neck and your upper back muscles are just working overtime and they're in this kind of like stretched position. Meanwhile, on the front side of your body, your pecs and the other muscles there are getting sort of tightened up. They're getting contracted. And so that sort of creates a snowball effect, right? Where like the front is tight, the back is working overtime, but also like stretched and weakened. And it just really is the worst recipe. I also see these issues pop up from carrying your baby all day. Like, although they're small and they don't weigh a lot, you are constantly carrying them, especially at first. So either they're in a carrier or they're in your arms or they're in like a pack or you're walking them, bouncing them. It's a lot for your upper back to deal with. And I think another thing that a lot of moms don't think about is their core. This is one of the reasons that I'm always just stressing to get back to the core work. Start with the breathing, start with the bracing as soon as you feel comfortable. I mean, even as soon as that first week, because as soon as you start to engage those muscles properly, as soon as your diaphragm, which is your main breathing muscle, which has been crammed up under your ribs for so long with a big baby growing in there, now it needs to like come down and figure out where it is again and not be so like contracted and restricted up there. Once you start using that to breathe properly, that's going to help your pelvic floor engage and move. And you can really start that stability all the way around your core. One thing a lot of women don't think about is that when the baby's still in your stomach, it's actually helping support your spine. So once the baby comes out, now there's basically like this space in there, right? And so your organs have to move around. Everything is shifting back to where it was originally, but your spine is not as stable. And so that's why it's so important for us to be doing that core work, because if our spine, especially that like low back, isn't as stable, our upper back is going to compensate. And your little stabilizing muscles are just like overworked. Things I hear in my office are things like my neck is locked up, I have a big knot between my shoulder blades or around one shoulder blade. women get headaches at the base of their skull, especially, and that can be from the muscles pulling. It's almost like a tension headache. Some women get like a migraine combo tension headache. And some women just have constantly tight shoulders and do feel pain when they're holding their baby or when they're feeding their baby. Okay, so if you're a mom, you are well aware of all these signs and symptoms, and you're like, great, Karlie, now what do we do? So some are changes that you can make in the gym to actually strengthen, but the biggest things are postural because just like almost any issue that we have where we're having pain, so many people want to be like, what exercises can I do? What mobility? What can I do? And I have to remind them that stuff is about an hour of your day, right? Maybe. But it's the stuff that you're doing all day. It's your posture. It's the way you're carrying, the way you're hinging, the way you're sitting. All these things are going to make the bigger difference. So let's start there. So number one, I'm sure you know this, but it always helps to hear it again. You should not be curling around your baby as you're nursing them. So try to sit up. I always try to have women, if you can, get a little support pillow behind your back, especially your low back. That will just keep you up more on your sits bones. And then you won't end up kind of in that curled forward position with your tailbone tucked under you and your upper back rounded. I do always recommend using a pillow or some kind of arm support while you're holding the baby. That way you just don't end up using your upper traps and kind of hiking your arm up as you're holding them. And then you really do want to try to keep that chest tall. So again, you're not rounded forward. You're not staring down at them with your neck in like that full flexed position. What you can do is gaze down at them. So you can look with your eyes down at them without actually like dropping your neck to stare at them. I know that feels weird, but I did that with all my kids, especially at night when I would be nursing them or giving them a bottle before bed. Like just as a reminder, like, hey, tuck my chin back a little bit. I can gaze down at them. I can still see them. I can still smile at them, but I don't have to be like staring in their eyes with my neck just in that crazy hunched forward position. Other things you can do if your baby's a little bit older and you're carrying them on the hip, you really want to try to switch sides. I recently was talking about this because I have a shoulder injury that I've been battling, knock on wood. It's like pretty much better. But I know the reason. It's because I always carry my daughter and she's heavy. I carry her on my left side because I'm right-handed. And even though I know I should switch it, it's so awkward to hold her on my right side. And so then she can feel the awkwardness and she's uncomfortable. So what I have actually been doing is using one of those hip carriers. All the different baby companies make them. But basically, it's like a little hip seat that goes around your waist. And that way you can still stabilize them, but you don't actually have to be holding the weight of them in your arm and using your upper back and neck. So that's another idea that can be helpful once your baby's old enough. So what can we do in the gym? I know you want to know. So what I have patients in my office do is we are working on upper back strength and endurance. So what does that mean? That looks like rows, banded pull aparts, any kind of scapular retraction work where you're like pulling the scapula together, face pulls. These are all exercises that are going to strengthen that upper back. And it sounds sort of counterintuitive because you're like, Karlie, isn't the upper back overworked? Yes, but the muscles are stretched and weakened. And so what we're doing is we're trying to contract them and pull everything back into the position that it should be in. And it's very surprising. I have women tell me all the time, it's surprising that it feels so good after you actually get those muscles activated. The other thing you can do is open up through the front side. So I have women roll with a lacrosse ball through their pecs, lay on a foam roller or over a stack of pillows, just kind of opening up that chest. Because again, if that's tight, it's going to pull everything forward and those are going to fight against each other. So it's two parts. One, strengthening the upper back, and two, opening up the chest. And then, of course, we have to rebuild our core, right? This is where the postpartum rehab really comes in and is really important. If you haven't done a postpartum plan, I will put the link to mine below. I have a traditional postpartum plan. I also have a C-section edition for C-section moms. The traditional plan can be started as early as you want. The C-section plan is designed to be started around 2 weeks postpartum, but they can be done even up to a year or two postpartum, especially if you didn't do any specific rehab. They're really going to teach you how to engage your transverse abdominis, work that deep core so that you have true functional stability. Your spine feels stable. You'll have less back pain. It also is a full body plan. So you'll start working on the upper body, building the glutes back. I just have seen thousands of women benefit from this plan. So check that out if you haven't done any postpartum rehab or you're looking for a plan that truly works in minimal time with minimal equipment. Again, even if you're not doing my plan, what you're doing should be well balanced, right? So it should have some amount of mobility, especially for your upper back. It should have some stability for your deep core. It should be working on your glutes because your glutes are directly connected to your pelvic floor. And then if you're trying to get back into some kind of athletic shape, it should be working on upper body too, right? So working on your pulling, your pushing, all those things. Of course, if you need to say, Dr. Karlie gave you the prescription to go get a massage, please go get a massage. I think there is nothing more relaxing than going in and having your neck and your shoulders and your upper back worked on, especially when you're newly postpartum. It's one of my favorite things is to help new moms with their upper traps, their necks, getting them moving better because I just know how rewarding it is. So you can also find someone to help you with that, whether it's a chiropractor or a massage therapist. But I do recommend getting a little bit of help. It doesn't have to be every week, but just getting every once in a while someone else to come in and move some stuff around for you can be really beneficial. Remember, motherhood is a physical job. Motherhood is athletic. Every mom is an athlete. That's what we say, right? And so we have to remember that the things we do are very physical. And so just like any other athlete, we need strength, we need recovery, and we need good movement patterns. Remember, even though upper back and neck pain are extremely common in new moms in early and even later postpartum, it's also very treatable. There's so much you can do. Changes in posture, strength training, core rehab, all of these things are going to make a big difference. So if you are dealing with this right now, just know that you can absolutely feel better. And I'm here to support if you need. Until next week, Strong Moms. Thanks for listening. Every Mom is an Athlete isn't just a podcast. It's a reminder that you're still the athlete you've always been. If this episode resonated with you, I'd so appreciate it if you'd share with a friend or leave a quick review. It helps more moms find the support and information they need. See you next time.